Welcome to the Real P&L Trading Show, where every week I share my real account, each tied to a specific trading system, so you can see exactly how each strategy performs in real time. And I share my proprietary safe wheel strategy for free. Uh, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Comments, audio check good. Thank you, Will. It seems like my equipment's working well now. Also, be sure to post any questions that you might have before the broadcast ends, because I like to get to all of your questions. And sometimes people put questions in. We're on like a maybe 3 or 5 second delay here. So sometimes I get questions and then I can't answer them because I'm closing down the session. So be sure to get those in earlier rather than later. Okay, I think, yeah, you guys can see my screen okay. This is my Earnings Edge account here. You can see my account statement here. See, I'm up almost $10,000 this year on this account. I started with about $6,400. Let's see my net lick, 15,462. I'm going to put that into the spreadsheet, 15,462, and then talk about this. 15,462. And what is SPY trading? Wow, it was at 580 last week. This week it's 590, 592.95. Market's just going up. Actually, it's only up 1.27% here in 2025. So not up a lot in 2025. Now, with this Earnings Edge, I've just started this 3.0 program. It's the latest version of it, and it's doing really well. Since 2025 is when I put on my first trade, and I've got 10 wins and 1 loss, a 90% win rate. My average win is $1,000. My average loss is $516. Now, I don't expect this win rate to be this high, but the 3.0 is doing quite well. Started with, well, it looks like I started with $6,053, and I'm up to $15,462, up 155% year to date. And this 3.0 strategy is working out quite well. The market's at 1.27%. And overall, I'm up 209% since I started this program. So I started with $5,000. Now I have $15,000. And the market's up about 25% since the beginning of 2022. So the Earnings Edge is doing quite well. If you're interested in the Earnings Edge, there's a link there in the description. Okay, let's talk about the next system here, the PL5 Pro. PL5 Pro is struggling right now. Let's see, let's go to that account. Let's get the net lick out of it. 275, it's this one. No, not that account. It is this one. Yeah, 400,601. So down a little more this week. I think this thing's kind of bottoming out. I'm pretty sure 400,601. Because the way the system works is there's really no more downside to it. When you get to certain levels, it's just there's no more downside. But down 14.5%, where the market's at 1.2. So vastly underperforming. Let me say something about this. If I'm not performing well or my system isn't performing well, I'm not going to hide it. You can see it right here. So that's kind of one of the things that you get with me. You get that full total transparency. Also, here, the market's up about 8%. I started this thing on July 19, 2024. I was outperforming the market by 10% coming into this year, but you could see that the PL5 Pro is basically at break even since I opened it up on July 19th, and the market's up 8%. So underperforming by about 8%. Not the end of the world. I totally know I'm going to catch up, and I look forward to this thing turning around. It's kind of at its low. It really can't go lower from where it's at right here. Based on the chart and the risk analysis and everything, it's just kind of down at the bottom. In fact, right now is like the best time ever to be putting on trades for this PL5 Pro, because when it draws down, it snaps back rather quickly. So it's going to be good from here, I believe. All right, let's talk about the Premier Level 5. Just the PL5, not the PL5 Pro, but just the PL5. And let's look at the account. I can't share my whole screen here because it'll show my account number. But I'm running this with started with a $30,000 account. I got 31,237. 31,237. Up a little bit this week. Let me get back there. 31,237. All right. So this one I started July 16th, 2024, outperformed the market in 2024 by about 7% during that last half. And then 2025 down 5% and the market up 1.2. So overall, the PL5 is up 4.2%, 4.1%. The market's up 5.2% since July 16th, 2024, the inception, basically a break even with the market. I expect this to surpass the market, and we'll see how that goes. But again, coming down off of a low, down 5%. I think I was down 8% at the highest. Coming down off of a low like that, it's going to really recover quickly. That's typically what it does. So this one's going to do well. And in fact, on Thursday, May 22nd, 9 a.m. Pacific time, I'm going to go over the 8 obstacles that you must overcome to find your trading edge. And you're most likely, if you're selling option premium, you're using 3 of those. But there's 8 obstacles you need to overcome. So there's 5 of them that you're missing. And so I'm going to go over that. And there'll be a link in the description here to sign up for that live masterclass. Okay, so that's the PL5. The safe wheel, let's talk about the safe wheel. What is the account doing with the safe wheel? The safe wheel account. That is this account here. What's my net lick? Whoops. No, that's this account here. My net lick is 57.66. 57.66. Oh, it's up just slightly this week, right? With the safe wheel, you could see that in 2025, I'm up 5.2%, and the S&P is up 1.27. So the safe wheel is outperforming in 2025, and with way less drawdowns. The drawdowns are half of the S&P 500. So on a risk-adjusted basis, it's really outperforming nicely. And you can see overall, the safe wheel is up 15.3%. The market's up 24.8% since the beginning of 2022. So they're about equal on a risk-adjusted basis, where the market just really has gone up over the last few weeks. Okay, so that is the safe wheel. Now let's trade. I'm going to go ahead and trade the safe wheel now. Okay, so safe wheel account. What's going on? So it's the wheel, right? But do I own any shares? No. So I'm not looking to write a covered call, right? And my hedge hasn't paid off, so I know I'm not going to do anything based on that. It's 123 days, so it's not under 100, so I don't do anything. Is 22 close to, what is LI trading? At 28. So let me see if I can get my calendar up here. 22 divided by, what is it trading? 28, 22? 28.22. So it's within 77%. So if it was under 70%, I would have to move it closer. But it's not. So let me go back here. So I asked 3 questions about this put hedge, and they're all no's, so there's nothing to do. I also own this $34 call that I paid $3 for earlier on Friday. You didn't see me make this trade, but you guys don't see me make these trades on Fridays unless you're part of the group, right? If you're part of the group, then you'll see these in an alert. Okay, so but you've seen every single trade that I've made in this account, except for these little $3 or $5 calls that I buy on Fridays. So here we are with the hedges are all look good. So I'm going to go ahead and do the traditional wheel. And right now I don't own any shares. I'm not looking to write a covered call. I'm looking to sell a put. I want to make sure I get at least 28 cents for it. I'm trading at $28. I want to get 28 cents. So let's go to, and I'm going to do it in the nearest expiration cycle, the one that expires Friday. And I want to get out of the money. So where can I go 28 cents out of the money? I can go here at the $27 level and I can get 28 cents out of the money. What I'll typically do is I go one closer to collect a little more premium. So I'm going to sell the 27.50 put. I'm going to sell one of those. and the mid price is 47. Okay, so that filled. So I sold the 27.50 put. I collected $47 for it. And that's it. Yep. I'm just waiting now to see if I get assigned. If I don't get assigned, I keep the money. If I do, I'll try to sell a covered call against that. I'll make sure my hedges are in place. And so I'm always hedged, so I can always collect premium. ABC, always be collecting. They're always collecting premium. I don't get stuck like in the traditional wheel. I don't get stuck in trades and I can't do anything and I'm not making any money. I'm not collecting any premium. That doesn't happen with the safe wheel. That only happens with the traditional wheel that most, boy, there's a lot of people out there on YouTube running that traditional wheel and they tout all the good sides of it, but they really never talk about the downsides too much. So, okay, let's see if there's any, I see there's some comments here. Will says the audio checks out. Thank you, Will. Appreciate that. Some guy says afternoon. Looks like you're in London. I believe that's London. Okay, less is more says here, with your EE up so much, are you changing your strategy and picking more than one stock a week or just continuing to add more positions to one pick? Actually, I'm doing the opposite of that. So I only do one trade a week only because basically I'm kind of lazy and I only want to trade once a week and I only want to deal with one underlying. Most people in the course are trading more than one underlying because they do that and they get good diversification. And if I was if I had more time and more energy, I would do that too. Now, am I adding more positions to one stock? No, I'm actually reducing my size a little bit since I'm at $15,000. I'm actually reducing the amount of size that I'm trading with the system. So I could be up more, but I'm okay with that. I'm getting a little more as the account grows. I'm getting a little more and more conservative, and that's fine. It's working out well. If I wasn't getting more conservative, my account would be at a higher level. Will, is your earnings edge doing 3 tranches now, or do you want to do as one tranche for the purpose of the people following? Oh, so it's not necessarily set up into tranche size. It's set up to percent of capital. So if I have $30,000 and I do 50% of my capital, I'm going to use $15,000 to trade. If I have $10,000 and I use 50% of my capital, I'm going to use $5,000 to trade. So it has to do based on capital percentage and how I go about it. I don't do 50%, but I'm just using that as an example. Some people might use that. But no, it's not about tranches. It's about capital allocation. And Will said he had the same question pretty much. Hopefully I answered that question. Some guy says, interesting to see the P&L difference in Costco. My Costco position's at break even. Interesting to know what strikes you had versus mine. Yeah, we can definitely get into the details in that in the community. Just ask me that and I'll show you the full trade. In fact, if you're part of the alerts, which I think you are, I'm sure you are. Yeah, you can see the exact trade that I took. I got out of that one early. The opportunity came up really quick, so I took it. And some people are still in Costco, which is fine. You're probably going to be doing just fine. You're at break even. Less is more. Can you describe the theory of why you're so confident the PL5 at its bottom and on the verge of rebounding? Because I look at the risk chart, right? And I have a specific trade right now that's down because the market moves so high, so far, so fast. And that trade is at the bottom. So in other words, it can't really go down much lower. It's like it can only go, if the market goes down, that trade is going to go up a lot. If the market goes up, it's like at the peak of its low, it's as low as it can get. So I can't lose really to the upside. I can only gain to the downside on that particular trade. That's the one that's kind of dragging down the portfolio right now. And then I put other trades on behind it that are, quote, normal trades, right? They're not part of this, 800-point move in the to the upside. And so those trades, and typically those trades that are put on after losing trades, the ones that are put on after trades that are losing, those based on historical back tests and history and historical forward tests, those typically hit profit target. So I'm just waiting for those guys to hit profit. And the market hasn't moved too much in the last few weeks. I mean, it's going up, but kind of at a little bit of a normal pace compared to that one day. I think it was Monday, a couple Mondays ago, where the market just shot up when we did some deal with China or something. So I don't expect it to just crazy shoot up again like that. And even if it does, I don't have a lot of upside risk like I did before. I had quite a bit of upside risk when that huge market big move occurred. And so now I really don't have that upside risk anymore. I just kind of have, and I don't have any downside risk because as my trades mature, they build downside protection. So I don't really have the downside or the upside risk. I just have the time to go by to make to make it happen. A good question though. Mad Mike says, hit the like button. I would appreciate it if you hit the like button. You can see that I am totally transparent. Even when my accounts are down, I'm transparent. And that is something that I don't think you find on YouTube very often. And if you hit the like button, it'll help me. I want the other instructors out there to share their portfolio P&L of their systems. And I want to get the truth out. So if you hit that like button, that helps me. It helps this channel grow, and it puts more pressure on those guys to actually have to share their net lick, their P&L. Will says, is your Profit Without Panic series finished? Yes. I went in October and I filmed into a studio, and I filmed I think there's 22 videos. So yes. And do you think you can put the playlist in order of first lesson to last for my OCD? Yes. In my, there should be a playlist, and it should be the Profit Without Panic playlist in there. If it's not there, let me know. But I'm pretty sure I've done that already. And also, when you watch Profit Without Panic, say you start with the first episode, it'll at the end of that will pop up the second episode that you could just press and then continue, and then the third episode and the fourth just pops up for you to hit play next, so you can do it that way too. Well, what do you think of BITO for the safe wheel? It's a Bitcoin stock, and I'm kind of thinking a higher volatility stock for a better safe wheel. Explain some of the pitfalls. So the main pitfall is it doesn't have earnings. And if you don't have earnings, sometimes you get into that, you called it, I can't remember what you called it, Will, but it was like the dead zone. And you want to get out of that dead zone. And one of the ways you can get out is, one, you're coming into earnings, so you can collect way more premium. And second, you can get to a point where the stock's either going to move down a lot or up a lot, and it'll help the safe wheel position. So you might get down in that no man's land where you need the stock to move. And with Bitcoin, you don't necessarily get that because there's no earnings. But also, when your volatility is too high, the problem with it is you want your stock to be between $20 and $40. That way it's easy to size the position. And if it constantly goes under 20 or quickly goes over 40, now you got to find a new stock because your sizing is going to be off. And I don't like moving from stock to stock so much. So that's another reason why the higher volatility stocks aren't quite as good to use. Also, when you buy your hedges, they're really, really far away. Even though it's kind of priced in that the stock will move far away, it's kind of like the hedges are kind of really far away too. And they cost a lot of money. And if you want to make them closer, they cost a lot more. Will says, is there just a playlist in order for me? I have to look at that. And I don't really want to do that live. I thought I did that, but let me write that down and I'll put that in the, I'll make sure that there is a playlist. Just give me a second here, because if I don't write stuff down, guess what? It doesn't happen. So you want the playlist for Profit Without Panic. Okay, definitely. I'll make sure that that's put together. And you said, I'll try playing first as you thought. Yeah, you can do it that way. I'll make sure there's a playlist there, Will. I appreciate everything you do in here, Will. All you guys. I appreciate all you guys here. All right. So are there any other questions or comments? Boy, the earnings edge is doing quite well. Hopefully that continues, but that 3.0, that thing is, that's working well. We're working really well. Okay. In parting, what I'd like to say is, if the P&L is not real, what else are they trying to conceal? All right. I appreciate you guys, and I'll be back next week.